大家好, the fourth video in our 汉字的种类 series, types of Chinese characters, are about 形声字. 形声字 literally means form, 形, and sound, 声, 字, character. These are the most important and most common type of Chinese characters. They're called phono-semantic, semantic compound characters. So phono meaning sound, semantic meaning meaning or form. And so these characters have two parts. They're radical and their phonetic component. They're the majority, the vast majority of Chinese characters. Over 90% of Chinese characters have a sound component and a categorical meaning component. And then so these combine to give you a hint, two hints actually. The radical or meaning component is going to tell you what category of characters that this one falls into. I've said oftentimes that Chinese characters are like Legos. So which Legos are you going to put together to make the character? The phonetic component is going to give you a hint, but oftentimes not a very good hint about how this character might be pronounced, what other characters it might sound similar to. Now, Chinese characters are thousands of years old, and in that time, Chinese language has undergone a number of different shifts where it's been influenced by other languages from outside of China. That's why there are so many dialects in Chinese that are different from one another. And so, oftentimes, this phonetic hint can be misleading, but most of the time it's still pretty good, because some characters, the pronunciation has changed. So let's take a look at some examples. Here we have the radical 草 for plant. And if you take the radical for plant and put it above the character 才, the phonetic component, you have a character that belongs to the plant category that sounds like 菜 or 菜, vegetable. We also have the hand radical. If you ever see this component in the character, you know that this is probably a verb. It has something to do with your hand. And if we put it next to bai, bai means the color white. But if we put it together, it doesn't have anything to do with the color white. It has to do with the hand. But it sounds like bai, pai, or pai, to clap or to hit. Here we have the character for 女, female. And if you put the character female next to the character horse, you have a character that is some sort of woman, and it sounds like horse, or ma. This is a great example because when you see the character ma for mama, your mom doesn't look like a horse. She doesn't sound like a horse. She doesn't smell like a horse, I hope. And so this really has nothing to do with horses. It has to do with being female. So these are pictophonetic characters. They're more than 90% of all Chinese characters. Pay attention. Almost all of the characters that you learn are going to have a radical or meaning component and a phonetic component. 谢谢大家，再见。